is the real meaning of emptiness in Buddhism? Have you ever felt a subtle unease, as though the very nature of your existence might not be what it seems? Imagine for a moment that everything you hold to be real, your sense of self, the objects you touch, and even your most cherished experiences, might be fundamentally empty of inherent existence. It's not the plot of a sci-fi movie. It's one of the most transformative insights of Buddhist philosophy, the concept of emptiness, shunyata. What if understanding emptiness could set you free from the mental loops that keep you stuck in patterns of suffering, attachment, and disconnection? This isn't just philosophy. It's a call to radically shift how you see yourself and the world around you. In this journey, we'll dive deep into 5 transformative aspects of emptiness, explore their practical implications, and uncover how they can lead to a more compassionate, interconnected, and liberated way of being. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Self, No Subject. Let's start with the Buddha's radical teaching. The self, that solid, unchanging I you feel so deeply attached to, does not exist as an independent entity. This concept is introduced in the Sunyata Sutra, where the Buddha reveals that the world is empty of self and anything belonging to self. Breaking down the I, daily experiences, thoughts, feelings, perceptions, seem personal, but on closer examination, they arise and fade based on conditions like genetics, environment, and upbringing. The self is more a shifting mosaic than a fixed entity. For example, the body feels unified but is a collection of cells and processes. Similarly, thoughts are fleeting bursts, and memories are ever-changing reconstructions. What appears as a single self is a constantly evolving narrative. Examples to illuminate. Think of music. It seems tangible, yet it arises from vibrations, instruments, and perception. The music itself doesn't exist independently. Likewise, the self is an organizational tool for ever-changing experiences. Another metaphor is a rainbow. It looks real, but it's an interplay of sunlight, water droplets, and the observer's position. Try to grasp it, and it vanishes. The sense of self works similarly, an appearance dependent on conditions. Meditation and insight. Meditation reveals the illusion of self. In mindfulness meditation, you observe thoughts and sensations as transient phenomena, not personal possessions. A thought arises, lingers, and fades, but who owns it? Open awareness meditation broadens this perspective, showing that all experiences are fleeting and interconnected. This insight is liberating. When the boundaries of I dissolve, you see life as interdependent. For example, your body relies on air, water, and food. Your thoughts stem from interactions and culture. Realizing this interconnectedness fosters compassion and reduces attachment to ego. Freedom in emptiness. Understanding the emptiness of self isn't about losing identity but releasing unnecessary anxieties tied to it. Consider the rainbow again. Knowing it's a phenomenon doesn't diminish its beauty. Similarly, realizing the self's emptiness frees you from fear and attachment without diminishing your individuality. Practically, this perspective transforms relationships. Letting go of rigid notions of self and other fosters empathy. You see others as shaped by conditions, just like you. This dissolves judgment and deepens connection, clarifying misconceptions. Non-self doesn't negate personal responsibility. In daily life, I and you are useful conventions, but they don't represent ultimate truth, nor is emptiness nihilistic. Instead, it reveals life's richness. Letting go of the illusion of a permanent self invites gratitude and curiosity. Integrating the teaching. To integrate non-self into daily life. Reflect on moments of strong ego and question their origins. What conditions gave rise to your reaction? Engage in acts that emphasize interconnectedness, like kindness or environmental care. This perspective reveals life's fullness, freedom, compassion, and wisdom rooted in understanding the dynamic, interdependent nature of existence. Chapter 2. The Interdependence of Objects. No object, The illusion doesn't stop at the self. Nagarjuna, a pivotal Buddhist philosopher, expanded on the Buddhist teachings by revealing that objects themselves are empty of inherent existence. Objects are processes. Consider a simple wooden chair. It seems like a singular object, yet it's the result of countless interdependent factors: the tree it came from, the soil, water, and sunlight that nurtured the tree, the carpenter's skill, and even the tools used to shape it. The chair doesn't exist independently but arises from a complex network of conditions. Similarly, let's use this very video or text as an example. At first glance, it seems like a thing you're engaging with. But what is it? Really? It's a constellation of interconnected elements: the script, your device, the pixels on your screen, the sound waves or letters, and the cultural and technological history that made it all possible. None of it exists as an independent entity. It's part of a vast web of causes and conditions. Everyday examples. Think about a delicious meal. It seems like a tangible, independent object, but trace its origin, the ingredients, the chef's skills, the cultural recipes, the farmers, the soil, the sunlight. The meal is an intricate dance of interconnected phenomena, not an isolated thing. Even the plate it's served on has its history, from the raw materials to the craftsmanship involved in its creation. A car, too, is more than just a vehicle. It embodies the labor of workers, the extraction of raw materials, the ingenuity of engineers, and the global systems of trade and production. When you see a car, you're seeing the culmination of countless interdependent processes. Practical freedom. When we recognize that objects are empty of inherent existence, we begin to relate to the world with less grasping and more appreciation. This perspective reduces attachment. For example, losing a prized possession becomes less distressing when you realize it was never truly yours, but a temporary configuration of conditions. Similarly, recognizing the impermanence of objects encourages gratitude for their presence in the moment. Meditative insights. Meditation helps internalize the interdependence of objects. In mindful observation, notice the objects around you: a cup of tea, a book, a flower. Reflect on the conditions that brought them into being. This practice fosters a sense of wonder and humility, as you see how deeply connected everything is. Consider a flower in meditation. It seems self-contained, but it depends on soil, water, sunlight, pollinators, and the gardener's care. This realization transforms the flower from a mere object into a symbol of interconnectedness. Such insights deepen your understanding of emptiness and the impermanence of all things. Clarifying misconceptions. Recognizing the emptiness of objects doesn't mean they lack value. Instead, it reveals their interdependent nature, making them more precious. Acknowledging this interconnectedness helps you appreciate the effort and conditions behind everything you encounter. This teaching also doesn't lead to passivity. Understanding interdependence encourages responsible action. For instance, knowing that your consumption choices affect global systems can inspire more mindful and ethical decisions. Integration into daily life. To integrate this understanding, start by observing your environment. Pick an object and trace its origins. For example, consider your smartphone. Think about the raw materials mined from the earth, the engineers who designed it, the workers who assembled it, and the distribution networks that brought it to you. This exercise cultivates mindfulness and gratitude. Extend this awareness to your actions. When eating, acknowledge the chain of people and processes that brought the food to your table. When using resources, reflect on their environmental impact. Such practices nurture a sense of interconnected responsibility. Implications for relationships. Recognizing the emptiness of objects enhances relationships. Just as objects depend on countless conditions, so do human interactions. Conflicts often arise from rigid perceptions of mine or theirs. By seeing relationships as dynamic and interdependent, you can approach them with greater empathy and flexibility. For example, a disagreement with a friend can be seen not as a fixed issue but as the result of various conditions, differing experiences, miscommunication, or external stresses. This perspective encourages patience and understanding. allowing for more harmonious connections. Freedom through understanding. Understanding the interdependence of objects liberates you from clinging to material possessions and rigid ideas. It fosters a fluid, adaptive approach to life, where you appreciate the transient beauty of existence without being trapped by it. By embracing this perspective, you cultivate a life of mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion. You see the world not as a collection of isolated entities, but as a vibrant, interconnected whole, inviting you to live with greater harmony and joy. Chapter 3. The Illusion of Duality. No subject and object. The Yogacara school of Buddhism takes this insight further, challenging the very distinction between subject and object. In other words, the perceived separation between you and the world around you is itself an illusion. Non-dual experience. Picture walking through a forest. Are you, the observer, separate from the forest you're experiencing? The colors, sounds, and smells arise in your consciousness, shaping your experience of the forest. Simultaneously, your consciousness takes the shape of the forest. The two are inseparably intertwined, like a dance where the dancer and the dance are one. Another example is listening to music. The notes, rhythm, and emotions arise in your awareness, but they are not independent of you. The listener and the sound exist as a unified process. This realization that subject and object are codependent breaks down the illusion of separateness. The implications of non-duality. This insight fosters unity and interconnectedness. It's the foundation for profound compassion, recognizing that the self and other are deeply intertwined. By dissolving these boundaries, we see that the well-being of others directly affects our own. Consider relationships. Conflicts often arise from the perception of me versus them. Non-duality allows us to see interactions as shared experiences arising from mutual conditions, encouraging empathy and resolution. For example, disagreements can be reframed as opportunities to explore shared understanding rather than battles of opposing wills. Meditative insights. Meditation can help internalize non-duality. Practices like loving-kindness meditation, metta, or mindfulness of interbeing reveal the interconnected nature of existence. Reflecting on the air you breathe, the food you eat, and the relationships you maintain highlights the intricate web of connections shaping every moment. During meditation, consider a flower. It seems independent, but its existence depends on soil, water, sunlight, and the gardener's care. This interconnectedness mirrors the relationship between the observer and the observed, deepening your understanding of unity, clarifying misconceptions. Non-duality doesn't deny individuality, but reframes it within a broader, interconnected context. Recognizing that individuality arises through relationships and conditions helps balance personal identity with a sense of collective existence. It's also not about passivity. Understanding interdependence inspires mindful action, as every choice impacts the larger whole. Caring for the environment, for instance, becomes an act of self-care within the shared ecosystem. Integrating non-duality into daily life. Apply non-duality by observing shared conditions in daily interactions. For example, during a conflict, pause to see how mutual experiences shape the situation. This practice fosters patience and empathy, transforming tension into understanding. Cultivating gratitude for interconnectedness is another way to live non-duality. Recognize the chain of efforts behind every meal, every object, and every opportunity. This awareness dissolves the illusion of separation, replacing it with a sense of wonder and responsibility. Freedom through non-duality. Embracing non-duality leads to profound freedom. By letting go of rigid boundaries, you release the anxieties tied to me and mine. Instead, you experience life as a seamless flow, appreciating the interconnected beauty of existence. This freedom enhances compassion. When others' suffering becomes inseparable from your own, acts of kindness arise naturally. The world becomes less about competing interests and more about shared harmony. Non-duality isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of living that transforms relationships, choices, and perceptions. By embracing it, you uncover the unity underlying all existence, leading to a life of connection, compassion, and peace. Chapter 4. The Liberation of Views, No Views. Just when you think you've grasped emptiness, Buddhism throws another curveball. Even views about emptiness are empty. Concepts are tools, not truths. Buddhist teachings, as transformative as they are not ultimate truths. They're like maps guiding you toward direct experience. Mistaking the map for the territory can lead to dogmatism, where beliefs become rigid and divisive. The Buddha himself likened his teachings to a raft, useful for crossing a river but unnecessary once you reach the other shore. For instance, the concept of impermanence helps us see life's transient nature, but clinging to the idea of impermanence as an absolute truth can lead to intellectualization, detaching us from the lived experience of change. Living without attachment to views. Recognizing the emptiness of views fosters flexibility and open-mindedness. Instead of rigidly clinging to ideas, you engage with life more freely, using concepts as tools rather than doctrines. Imagine a debate where, instead of defending your stance, you explore perspectives with curiosity. This approach invites connection and understanding. In daily life, this means being open to learning and evolving. When faced with opposing views, instead of insisting on your position, ask, what conditions shaped these perspectives? Such reflections cultivate humility and empathy, helping dissolve the barriers of right and wrong. Practical applications. Take success. For example, many view it as wealth or recognition, shaped by societal norms. Letting go of these rigid definitions allows you to redefine success on your terms, free from external pressures. In relationships, we often cling to expectations of how others should behave. Recognizing the emptiness of these views enables you to relate to people as they are, fostering deeper connection and understanding. Meditative insights. Meditation reveals the transient nature of thoughts and beliefs. Observe your mind during practice. Notice how it clings to certain ideas and forms identities around them. Over time, you see these thoughts as fleeting phenomena rather than absolute truths. For instance, you might think, "I'm not good enough." Instead of believing it, observe it as a passing mental event, arising and fading based on conditions. This detachment nurtures self-compassion and a greater sense of freedom. The middle way. The middle way avoids extremes, neither clinging to rigid beliefs nor falling into nihilism. This balanced perspective fosters clarity and equanimity, helping navigate life's complexities with grace. Consider moral judgments. Viewing right and wrong as fixed leads to dogmatism, while rejecting morality entirely creates chaos. The middle way recognizes the contextual nature of ethics, encouraging thoughtful and compassionate actions. Integrating no views into life. Begin by questioning assumptions. When you notice strong opinions, ask, what conditions shaped this view? Is it helping or limiting me? This practice opens space for growth and understanding. Active listening is another way to integrate this insight. Instead of preparing your response while someone speaks, focus on truly understanding their perspective. This simple shift fosters empathy and dissolves barriers. Gratitude for diverse perspectives also deepens this practice. Recognize that every view, even conflicting ones, enriches human experience. This mindset turns disagreements into opportunities for learning and connection. Freedom beyond views. Letting go of rigid views doesn't mean abandoning principles. It's about approaching life with openness and adaptability, without the need to cling to fixed beliefs. You engage more fully with the ever-changing nature of reality. This freedom also transforms your sense of self. Without attachment to views, you're no longer confined by rigid identities. You become free to evolve, embracing the fluidity of existence with curiosity and compassion. Living without attachment to views uncovers a profound liberation. Life becomes less about defending positions and more about engaging with the wonder of existence. This perspective invites humility, openness, and joy, unveiling the infinite possibilities of a mind unbound. Chapter 5. The Heart of Emptiness, Buddha Nature. Emptiness is not a void. It's the space of infinite potential. Beneath the illusion of separation lies a luminous awareness, the Buddha nature, that is our true essence. Awakening to Buddha nature. Just as images on a movie screen arise and fade without altering the screen itself, our experiences arise within the luminous awareness that we truly are. This awareness is unchanging, vast, and clear, like the sky untouched by passing clouds. Touching this awareness reveals profound inner peace and freedom, unshaken by the highs and lows of life. Imagine looking into a mirror. The reflections constantly change, yet the mirror remains clear and open. Similarly, our Buddha nature is like the mirror, untouched by the fleeting thoughts and emotions that arise within it. Practical awakening. Awakening to Buddha nature isn't about escaping life, but engaging with it fully from a place of clarity, compassion, and creativity. By resting in awareness, the false sense of separation dissolves, and we awaken to the unity of all things. Life becomes less about resisting change and more about flowing harmoniously with it. In moments of conflict, resting in awareness allows us to respond with understanding instead of reacting defensively. This shift fosters deeper connections and solutions rooted in wisdom and kindness. Meditation as a path. Meditation is a powerful tool for realizing Buddha nature. Mindfulness and loving-kindness practices guide us to rest in awareness, observing thoughts and emotions without judgment. Over time, this reveals the unchanging essence beneath life's ever-changing surface. Consider mindfulness meditation. As you sit quietly, focus on your breath and observe thoughts as they arise and pass. Beneath these thoughts lies the clear, open awareness that is always present, your Buddha nature. Loving-kindness meditation cultivates compassion by dissolving boundaries between self and other. When you rest in awareness, interconnectedness becomes evident, transforming relationships and encouraging harmonious living. Emptiness and fullness. Emptiness doesn't mean void or lack. Instead, it reveals the fullness and potential inherent in every moment. Recognizing that all things arise from conditions helps us appreciate life's interconnected nature. Consider a flower. It exists because of soil, sunlight, water, and care. Its beauty isn't separate from these conditions, but an expression of them. Similarly, our lives are interconnected expressions of countless factors, making each moment precious. Living from Buddha nature. When we live from the awareness of Buddha nature, challenges become opportunities for growth, and actions arise naturally from compassion and wisdom. Living from this awareness reveals the unity and diversity and the stillness within motion. This perspective encourages mindful, kind actions, offering a smile, helping a neighbor, or simply being present with someone in need reflects the luminous awareness within us. These acts ripple outward, creating positive change. Freedom through awakening. Awakening to Buddha nature frees us from grasping and aversion, allowing us to embrace life as it is. This freedom isn't about detachment but profound engagement with the present moment, free from the constraints of ego and fear. Imagine standing at the ocean's shore. You don't control the waves or resist them. You simply witness their rise and fall. Awakening to Buddha nature is like standing in this infinite ocean of awareness, at peace with life's ebb and flow. Touching this luminous awareness reveals that emptiness is not a void but the space of infinite potential. It is the heart of all things, the essence of our being, and the key to living a life of compassion, creativity, and boundless joy. Conclusion: a journey without end. Emptiness isn't about nihilism. It's about liberation. It invites us to let go of rigid, conditioned ways of seeing and being, awakening to the fluid, interconnected, and inconceivable nature of reality. Take these teachings as an invitation to explore your own experience. The Buddha encouraged us to be lamps unto ourselves, testing the teachings in the laboratory of our lives. Embrace the journey, question deeply, and awaken to the incredible mystery and beauty of this existence. As you walk this path, remember, the truth you seek is already here, shining in the heart of your awareness. Let it guide you toward wisdom, compassion, and freedom.